Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Now in this one we are going to be going over a brand new baked beans fork that has just released, went live yesterday actually, called Avio Finance Sustainable Mining Solution. But guys, before we get into it, please smash a like, subscribe down below if you are new, and turn the notifications on so you don't miss a future video. Go ahead and check out the link in the description to the premium server if you're interested. We do giveaways of whitelist bots, of NFTs, we do cool throughout the week. You get to see my portfolio and a bunch of other things like that. Also, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Always do your own research and be very careful about what you're investing in crypto and DeFi, as it is the riskiest stuff in the world, especially when it comes to these stakers. Also guys, one more thing to mention is that follow me on Twitter at JPKDeFi so you don't miss a future tweet about what I'm doing before it gets to YouTube. But with that being said, let's jump into it. So as you can see here, it's BNB, right? You put your BNB in, you deposit that, and you get BNB back out. Now these guys actually launched yesterday. Let's go and take a look at some of the stats here. They only have about 5 followers over on Twitter. They've got 30 people over in Telegram, and they have about $30,000 in the contract so far, which, you know, for a brand new staker that went live yesterday and with barely a presence anywhere, you know, this is actually surprising that they have $30,000 plus in here. They've been live for like less than 24 hours, and you know, they already have $31,000 in here, which is pretty incredible in my opinion. So yeah, interesting stuff for Avio Finance. Again, it's one of those, if you haven't seen Baked Beans, the original, I'm gonna do a video on it beforehand, you know, sorry, at some point, because yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea to get that out there, so that you guys can see the original baked beans, right, before jumping into all of these forks. So this is the next one that launched. These things are coming out. I do think that these are going to be the next sort of trends. Baked beans has been doing very well since November last year. So people are rightly forking this project, or rightly forking the project, you know, as much as they possibly can. And they're doing very well. You know, these guys with barely a following, barely a presence, are getting $31,000 worth of investment in the in the contract before, you know, without any real marketing, without any real push, which is interesting to see. One thing I do want to mention is that Avio Finance are not audited at the moment. Whether they are going to do an audit in the future, I don't know if they will. I don't know, you know, I haven't had any information from the dev on that. So look, this is a gamble, okay? When it comes to these stakers, right? You've got RubyMine, you've got all these other forks. If they're audited, then that's great, because it means that they can't do anything, you know, fishy or dodgy with the contract, right? Because it's audited. Haze have gone through. It's usually Haze Crypto that does the audits, right? And what they do is they filter through all of the code that's in the audit. And then they kind of decide whether or they have a look if there's any backdoors or anything, and they'll let you know if there are any backdoors or anything, obviously when pushing out the audit. But some of them aren't audited, and I obviously know, and personally it's very difficult, right? Because an audit kind of seems that it's safe. It's not always safe, right? We saw Elephant Money yesterday have a $40 million exploit when they have been audited. So it's one of those where, do you want to risk it without an audit? You know, do you want to risk investing in something without an audit? That's up to you to decide, right? When it comes to these stakers, I would only put in gambling funds anyway, because that's what it is. You know, it is gambling. So I would only put in, you know, gambling money in these. But again, it's not audited, so I just be careful there, and maybe that will help you make your decision whether or not to jump into this one. So what happens when you deposit? Can I take my initial BNB back? How much are your fees? So they have a 5% dev fee, which is okay, I think. You know, a lot of them, you know, they have some of them are doing 8%, 10% deposit fees. These guys have a 5% deposit fee there, so it makes sense. You know, that's okay in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's fairly reasonable for these. When's the best time to deposit? So pretty much the way that these things are designed is that, you know, it doesn't favor you to jump in, or you don't have to jump in on day one to benefit. But, you know, of course, the earlier you jump in, the better long term, of course. But it's not 100% necessary to jump in on day one, just because of how the system works. How baked beans was originally designed. It was designed so that it favors people that reinvest every 6 days, and then you pull out, or every day for 6 days, and then you pull out one day a week. On the 7th day, you pull your profit out for that day, and that's kind of how they got this balance of being sustainable for the sort of last however many months they've been live, right? So yeah, that's what I would suggest. Or that's what I would say on it. But again, they aren't audited, which I know is a massive factor for a lot of people. So how often should I reinvest compound? How is Avio sustainable? Sustainable by the community support, pretty much like every other crypto project, to be honest. How is Avio? Can you use it on your phone? Yes, you can. Is it better to reinvest, eat collect? By design, reinvesting will be more profitable than collecting in the long term. How do referrals work? And it launched yesterday on April 12th there. So yeah, there is Avio Finance. Again, they don't have too much of a social media presence, and they aren't yet audited, but they have about $31,000 in the contract here already. So interesting stuff. I would be, I'd keep an eye on this. But yeah, that's really it. I want to thank Avio for reaching out and sponsoring this, but I do like it. I like these forks coming out, and I do think that we're going to see a massive push from, a lot of the ROI stakers that are also the ROI dApps that have been out there recently. I do think that kind of the next big trend is going to be people forking baked beans, coming out with like the Avio Finance stuff. So yep, but that's going to be it for this one. If you have enjoyed, make sure you smash a like, subscribe down below if you are new, and with that being said, I will see you on the next one. Peace.